Welcome to the second BenTech Quick Start training class. This class video is designed to walk the user through the specifics on zooming, rotating, and repositioning a part, creating and editing pick points, using the Bend Mode tool, editing design features, obtaining and viewing dimensions on parts, and we'll also briefly touch on the Harpoon interface. As you go through this class, later procedures will assume that you understand all earlier procedures. Because of this, it is very important that you carefully step through this guide, understanding everything along the way. Start by opening the BenTech software to the task menu screen, as seen here. Before we illustrate how to zoom in and out properly and how to rotate and reposition a part, make sure that you have a mouse attached to your computer and that it is in working order. A laptop touchpad is not recommended as a substitute for a mouse. Start by opening the Assembly Designer and maximizing the screen. Then select a die and material from their respective lists. The TriStar at the center of the display area will be the focal point for this exercise. The left button is constantly used in our software, as with many other programs. When we say click, this is what we're talking about. So click once in the display area in the assembly window to activate the screen. First, spin the wheel on the mouse to cause the screen to zoom in and out. Spinning the wheel backwards to zoom in and forward to zoom out. Make sure that the cursor is placed over the part you're trying to see closer or further away. Otherwise, you could zoom the part right off the screen. Then, click and hold the right button on the TriStar and move the mouse around to get a feel for how the rotation works. As with the zooming, if you don't click and hold your intended part or project, you run the risk of rotating it completely off the screen. Now, click and hold both buttons and move the mouse around to reposition the TriStar to a different location on the screen. When you're satisfied that you understand this, click the Home button at the top of the screen and the TriStar will be reset to its original location, size, and position. You can also use the Projections button and choose to see the project from many different angles. Still in the assembly window, start by clicking on the PickPoints tab near the upper left-hand corner of the screen. From here, you can see that there are 5 additional sub-tabs that you can choose as different methods to create or edit PickPoints with. Making PickPoints under the single sub-tab is probably the most common way for people to make them. Enter the number 36 into the light green right field and click Apply. You'll see a point made 36 inches to the right of the TriStar. Shift-click this point to create another point 36 inches to the right of that. Now, you can enter up to 3 lengths into these value fields at the same time, as long as they don't conflict with each other. You cannot put numbers in both the left and right value fields, or the ceiling and floor value fields. Clicking on the opposing value field will cause the number to transfer from the left to the right, front to the back, ceiling to the floor. You can use the Clear Values button to set all the value fields back to 0. Now, click on the Lines sub-tab to view the different ways for making pick points off of a line. The Line 2 points option is easy because you can create a line in between 2 points and create a new pick point anywhere along that line, as seen here. Click the Swap Ends button to determine which end you're measuring from, and click the Split in Half button to split the distance in half. The Intersection option allows you to make 2 lines that intersect each other as a location to place a pick point. The String option creates multiple pick points along the length of a line that you've created between 2 points. The distance between these points can be changed in the Spacing Amount field, and the number of points can be changed in the Quantity Amount field. Now I'm going to make a few straight tubes and 1 bent tube to show you how the plane and arc features work. Click on the Plane Arc subtab to view the ways to make pick points off of a plane or previously defined arc. The plane option will allow you to choose a place to put a pick point either on or aside from a certain directional plane. The number typed in the Move Amount field will determine the distance the pick point will be placed away from the base point. When you've entered the move distance, you'll need to select an intersecting feature on which to place the pick point. Make sure to click Apply to finish. The arc option will allow you to use angles to place a pick point in reference to an arc or bend of a part. You decide how far away from the bend's radius you'd like the point to be by entering it into the Radius Offset Value field. Also, type a number into the Sweep Angle field to determine what angle the pick point will be placed on. Make sure the number is between 1 and the arc angle number to the left. You can also use the Split in Half button to place the pick point directly in the center of the arc. Now, select the Angle subtab to see how to place pick points along an angle. Pick a general direction you'd like to place the pick point by clicking on a circle in the Angle Directional display. Then, type the angle of the pick point in reference to that, and the distance it will be away from the reference. This can be a great tool for you if you already know the angles and lengths of your sections of tubing. Now, switch to the Edit Points subtab. From here, you can see options that will allow you to change the color of your pick points, show or hide them in the display area, and delete and verify their placement. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use the Bend Mode function. I've already set up additional pick points, but don't feel that you have to follow along with this part. First, you should know that with every bend you make, the bend mode will be set to apex by default. This means that your bend will always treat the pick point of the bend location as a would-be intersection of the two legs of tubing. An example of this is shown with our first bend. When creating a bend, you'll need to click a minimum of 3 pick points. So select the Bend button first, then the first pick point, then the Bend Mode button, then select what kind of bend will be defined, then click the remaining 2 pick points to finish the bend. These next few examples should clear up any confusion you might have about this process. Now we'll go over the different ways of editing features so you can add even more tools to your designing toolbox. Go up to the Edit tab and select the Move sub-tab, which includes the Move Part and Move Feature options. When you select the Move Part button, click on the part you'd like to move, create an anchor point on it, and select a new location for the part. The Move Feature button works in the same way, but moves either the bend or the length of the part itself by changing the pick point location. As you can see, this is a great tool for shortening or elongating the length of a leg. Move bend options include the nudge bend, move bend, and adjust radius tools. Select the Nudge Bend button, then the bend you'd like to nudge, and select the green or pink buttons to increase the size or location of the bend by the increment designated in the Amount Value field. Select the Move Bend button, then the bend you'd like to move, and click and hold the arrow which indicates the direction you'd like to pull the bend. Then pull it in that direction. Using the Adjust Radius button, available in SE and the Large Radius module, you can click and hold the bend you'd like to adjust and pull it up or down to adjust the radius of that bend. Now click the Copy sub-tab to learn how to copy and paste single and multiple parts. Click the Select Part button, then the single part you'd like to copy, followed by the anchor point for that part, and then a point you'd like to paste the copy to. The Copy Multiple Parts section gives you step-by-step instructions for copying and pasting multiple parts. Start by setting a base point for the selection you'd like to copy, then selecting all the features you'd like to copy, whether it be parts or pick points. Then click Complete and click the Paste Parts button to place them in the design. You'll have to click the OK button for every part that is duplicated. Now go up to the Rotate sub-tab to learn how to rotate a part along a designated axis. Start by selecting the part you'd like to rotate, adding an anchor point, which will be the rotation axis, then enter the desired rotation in the Rotation Amount field and apply. Now we will learn about mirroring a part from its original position. So go up to the Mirror sub-tab. Much like the Rotate feature, if you'd like to mirror a part, first click the Select Part button, then the part you'd like to mirror, then choose the axis you'd like to mirror the part around, and click Apply. You can check the Keep Original Part checkbox if you'd like to keep the part you're mirroring. Under the Delete sub-tab, you can select your parts from the list that you'd like to get rid of and click the Remove Selected button. You can also unselect all of them with the Unselect All button. To see how to stretch parts, select the Stretch sub-tab from above. You can start by selecting the view you'd like to see the part from in the Select View section. Once that is selected, you can create a window in the display area to enclose the features you'd like to stretch. Then, select the direction and type in the distance in which you'd like the stretching to occur. When you're finished with this, select the Miscellaneous tab labeled MISC. For this section of the class, I've brought in the assembly tutorial project to illustrate how some features in the Miscellaneous tab work. The Miscellaneous Tools section holds editing and display tools that can help you with bends, radii, and other adjusting methods. Select the Add Bend button and then a straight part of the tube to designate a place for a new bend. You will then be prompted to alter the distance which the bend will be from the straight part you initially clicked on. Select the Scale button to resize parts, material, radii, or a combination of all of these. Scaling uses numbers as a percentage, so that 100 is equal to full or initial size. This function isn't just used to display the part differently, it will alter the actual dimensions of the part or project you're working on. With multiple parts assembled together in the Assembly Designer, click the Explode button, then a central point on the project, and choose an increment of distance for the explosion to separate all the parts and view them in Explode mode. You can exit this mode by navigating away from the Miscellaneous tab or pressing another button. Click the Clean button to remove any excess zero-length tubes from the design. Now click the Color button, then choose the color you'd like to use from the list, and click the parts you'd like to change. Select the Copy Radius button, then click on a bend in the assembly to copy its radius. Then, select another bend in order to change its radius to be like the first. Select the Adjust Centerline button followed by the part you'd like to adjust. A window will appear where you can change the centerline to outside or inside dimensions. Select the OK button and your part's dimensions will be adjusted accordingly. Now select the Bump Bending button available in SE and the Large Radius module, then click on the bend that you'd like to put multiple bends into. A window will appear prompting you to indicate the die that will be used, which bend on the part will be altered, and by how many bends. The Label section is simply used to set a label to a part or project. Select the New button, then enter the size of the label in the Label Size field. Select a point to place the label, enter it in the text field, and click OK. You can also move the label or delete it here. The Break or Join Tube section is to separate tubes that may be longer than the material you're using, or to join them to get the most out of the lengths of the material you're using. Select the Break Auto button and enter the maximum length for your material in the Max Length field. Follow that up by selecting the part in the display area you'd like to split up. Now select the Breakpoint button and choose the point on the part you'd like to place the break. This will not work on bends or tangents of bends. Finally, select the Join Tubes button followed by the two tubes you'd like to join together. This will not work for tubes that are on different planes, such as intersecting tubes. Select the Auto Miter button followed by tubes that you'd like to miter together. When the Display Tubes as Cut option is selected in the Settings window, the ends of the tubes will appear as they should after cutting and welding are performed. This function can also be found in the Cutting tab. The Single Bend CLR Change tool is used to simply change the CLR of any bend that is selected. First, change the die in the Select Die drop-down menu, then click the Select Bend button and choose the bend in the display area. Switch from the Edit tab to the Dimensions tab so that we can double-check lengths and angles of parts and bends. The Single button is for checking the length of a single part. Simply click the Single button and the straight section of the part you're working on. You can also choose to measure from pick-point to pick-point using this tool. The Multiple button is used to get multiple dimensions for many distances. When this button is enabled, you'll be able to click a point on one tube followed by another point on a different tube, and it will tell you the distances in between the tubes as well as intersection lines. Select the Inside Angle button to view the inside angle of a bend. Click this button, then the far end of one leg, then the far end of the opposing leg on the other side of the bend. Click again to place the location of the dimension. Select the outside angle button to view the outside angle of a bend. Click this button, then the far edge of one leg, then the far end of the opposing leg, and click again to place the location of the dimension. From the Edit section, you can move dimensions with the Move button, delete them one at a time with the Delete button, or delete them all with the Delete All button. Now, select the 2D button to mark more dimensions on 3 different flat views of your part or project. This option includes horizontal, vertical, and linear buttons to achieve more specified dimensions. You also have the ability to edit the values of the dimensions with the Edit Value button. This does not change the part itself in any way. When you're through here, prepare to experiment a little with the Harpoon Designer. From the Task menu screen, open the Harpoon 3D Designer. From here, maximize the screen and choose a die and material from their drop-down menus at the left of the screen. Start by selecting the top arrow of the TriStar and pulling it upwards to any height. Without clicking anywhere else, simply type 24 on your keyboard. You'll notice that the tube adjusted its length to exactly 24 inches. Then, simply select the Add Bend button off to the left. The TriStar will change locations to higher up on the tube. Next, select the right light green arrow and pull it out a bit and type 6 on your keyboard. Right after that, pull up the ceiling arrow and type in another 6. Then, select the Add Bend button once more. Now, pull out the right arrow and type 32 and click the Add Bend button. Now, pull on the floor arrow and type 6, and pull out the right arrow and type another 6. Now, as another way to add a bend, click on the green TriStar. Finally, pull the floor arrow straight down and type 24 to finish. As you can see, the bend locations, rotations, angles, and spring angles will be located at the top of the screen, along with the cut length, your material, and die information. Thank you for completing the second BendTech Quick Start training class. For further questions and comments about the class or your BendTech software, please feel free to email us at support@bend-tech.com.